All right, my friends, we're going to get started lying on our backs. No props quite yet. Just come to lay all the way down. You'll bend your knees, place your feet on the ground, feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, could be as wide as the mat, and then knock your knees in towards each other to touch. And you might feel slightly pigeon-toed with your toes curled in and your heels out. If it's comfortable to rest your hands on your belly, do so. Could be on the ribs, and if it feels better to bring your arms out wide to a T, palms up, do so. So take a moment to arrive. Allow the eyes to either close or soften, whatever feels best. And just start by feeling the connection of your back body on the ground. The back of your head, feeling the upper back, the shoulders press into the earth. Feeling the hips press into the ground as well as the soles of the feet. And then start by just taking a couple of breaths here. Not forcing the breath to change, but just a few natural breaths. Breathing in and out of the nose if possible, starting to find a soft breath in and out of the nose, an ujjayi breath, keeping the lips sealed, this very soft rumble at the back of the throat. And with every inhale, feel this sense of opening in the body. Feel the chest, the ribs, the belly expand with air. And then feel the exhale come from the belly, feeling the belly draw back in towards center. So as you inhale, feel the chest, the ribs, the belly expand and inflate. And as you exhale, use a tiny bit of core strength to squeeze the belly back in towards center so that the exhale really starts at the belly. Inhale, feel that sense of opening, of expanding throughout the body. And exhale, feeling the navel draw in, releasing out as much breath as you can. And then we'll start a counted breath where we breathe in steps, where we inhale for 3, we exhale for 3, and then there's a slight pause at the end of the exhale before we start the cycle again. So start by just taking a long, smooth exhale out, emptying out as much as you can, and then slowly, not forcefully, inhale through the nose for a count of 3, 2, 1. And then exhale for 3, 2, 1, and pause at the bottom for 3, 2, 1, and then inhale again, 3, 2, 1, exhale 3, 2, 1. Try to hold the breath, and then slowly, don't rush the breath, inhale 3, 2, 1, exhale 3, 2, 1, pause at the bottom, hold the breath, and then you'll start that cycle again, 1 or 2 more times on your own. Allowing the body to expand with every inhalation, to feel that sense of release with every exhalation, taking a slight pause at the bottom of the exhale, and then slowly, not forcefully, taking the breath back in. And then after you've done that a few times, just come back to a natural rhythm of breath in and out of the nose. And allow the eyes to softly flutter open. Bring your feet a little bit closer so they're more about hip width apart. And just start to swish your knees left and right. Just kind of massaging out the low back. Your knees may come close to the floor, they might not, doesn't really matter. And then from here, you're gonna roll onto one side of your body and use your hands to help prop yourself up. And then grab your pillow or your bolster. You'll place it the horizontal way across your mat. And we're gonna start by lying on the right side of our body. So with the right hip close to the bolster, reach the right arm behind you, and you'll bring this bolster or pillow right underneath the rib cage. Bring your knees a little closer into your chest, and then straighten that left leg forward and really reach through the heel. You rest your left arm down by your side, and then feel free to stay here or turn that left palm up towards the ceiling, and if you'd like, sweep that top arm up and over your ear so that your palms are facing each other for this nice side bend in the left side of the body, feeling that pillow or bolster supporting the right rib cage. I like to really extend forward through the left heel, so you can play with that if you like the leg more relaxed. You might do that after a couple of breaths. And as much as you can here, allow the body to take up space, to open. Send the breath into the left side body. Send the breath into the low back. Send the breath into the pelvic floor, meaning can you not try to tense or grip, but can you just feel a sense of release there? And maybe that comes with the exhalation. Softening a bit more with each exhalation. And as you lay here, just notice the breath. Notice if it starts to slow down after a little bit. Maybe still have that very slight pause at the end of your exhale. So trying not to take in or fill up more than we need, but instead focusing on just kind of emptying our cup. And if you're in a good spot, you might just stay steady, being still here. If you'd like to invite a little movement in, then bring that left hand behind the head to let your elbow face up. And as you inhale, you're going to open your chest up towards the ceiling, any amount. Doesn't have to be your deepest stretch. And then as you exhale, turn your chest down towards the ground a little bit. And then again, inhale, open. Your chest might face the ceiling, might not. We're not going for the deepest stretch. And then exhale back down. Inhale, open. I'm going to exhale, close. And do this a few times on your own. Moving at a speed, a tempo that works for you. Might be a little slower, might be a little faster than my speed. And again, you don't have to go for your deepest stretch. Just inviting a little movement into the thoracic spine and the side body while keeping the low back and the hips pretty stable. And then the next time you turn your chest down a bit, so just place that left hand down and now take about 5 or so breaths here. And letting the shoulders just feel like they could melt away from the ears. And take another cycle of breath here. So not rushing the breath in, keeping the breath smooth and steady. And then nice and slowly press your left hand into the earth. Use your hands to help prop yourself up. And from here, we're just going to switch sides. So you can either turn around or move your bolster or pillow to the other side. Left hip long or close to the bolster. Reach that left arm behind you. Bring your knees a little closer into your chest, and you might straighten that right leg forward, maybe extending through the heel. Rest your right arm down by your side, and then you could keep your arm there if that feels best, or turn the palm up to face the ceiling and sweep that top arm up and over your ear. And just take a moment to settle in, to kind of find that sweet spot. Sometimes it takes a little bit of wiggling around. Maybe you're really reaching through that right heel, and then send the breath into the right side body, the right rib cage. Feeling the belly and the ribs really expand in this pose with every inhalation. And then focusing on releasing with every exhalation. And sometimes we grip in parts of the body without even noticing. So notice if naturally you tense up the belly, if you're always trying to draw the belly in towards the spine, and then can you release the belly? Think about sending the breath wide across the low back. And as much as you can, release the pelvic floor. So we're not trying to grip or hold. And as you bring your attention onto the physical part of the body, the muscles and the joints, and as those start to release, notice the quality of the breath. I find that when I allow my physical body to release consciously, then my breath naturally starts to slow down. And then you can really focus on that exhale. On emptying the cup, not always taking it in and filling up to the brim, but focusing on releasing a little bit more. Not all the way, but as much as you can. And if you're in a good spot, feel free to just stay here. If you want that little movement, bring the right hand behind the head. And as you inhale, turn your chest up towards the sky any amount. And then as you exhale, turn the chest down towards the ground a little bit. And do that again. Inhale, open. And exhale, close. Inhale. And exhale, and then do that just a few more times. Moving at whatever speed, whatever tempo works for you, going to your range of motion. Doesn't have to be the biggest stretch. And then the next time you turn your chest down towards the ground, you're just going to pause for a couple of breaths. Bring that right forearm down, relax the head, relax the shoulders, the jaw. And stay for the next exhale. And then don't rush. Nice and slowly place the right hand down with your next inhale. And use your hands to help prop yourself up. So you're just going to move this bolster or pillow somewhere in front of you. Make your way onto hands and knees in a tabletop position. And then lower your elbows and your forearms to the mat. Bring your palms to touch so your thumbs face each other. Have your elbows about under your shoulders. And then from here, let's just take some cat-cows. As you inhale, drop the belly. Curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Pull your heart forward through the gateway of your shoulders. And as you exhale, round the spine. Lengthen your tailbone down towards your heels and use a tiny bit of abdominal strength to draw the belly in. And again, inhale, arch. Open the front body. Exhale, round. Breathe into the back body. Let's take about 3 or so more on your own, just moving with the breath. Think about breathing into the front body every time you inhale and arch the spine. And breathe into the back body every time you exhale and round the spine. And then after your next round or so, come through center, make your way back up onto hands and knees. Swing your feet off to one side. And now move this pillow or bolster off to the side. Slowly come to lay down on your back. Bend your knees, place your feet on the ground, and then you'll lift your hips and slide the bolster/pillow underneath your hips. So you really want your hips to feel supported and the low back, and you can bring your arms wherever it feels best, maybe resting the hands on the belly or the ribs, or one hand on the belly, one on the center of the chest, or arms out to the side if that feels better. Now this is going to feel kind of strange at first, but I want you to start to take some hip circles. And don't think too much about it. I always think about like a clock, trying to hit 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6, 9, back up to 12. So try to do about 8 hip circles in one direction. And try to keep the low back, the pelvis, the hips as relaxed as possible. And then take about 8 in the other direction. And they don't have to be super big hip circles. They could be somewhat small. So thinking less and just feeling more. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're like, this feels odd, just embrace it. Once you've done about 8 in each direction, come through center, and then let your knees splay out wide. Bring the soles of your feet together for a supported Supta Baddha Konasana, supported supine bound angle pose, and feel the inner thighs spin out and up. Let the low back feel wide and spacious, and then as much as you can, relax the belly. Relax the hips, relax the pelvic floor. And as you inhale, feel the breath really fill up the belly, the ribs, the chest. And as you exhale, use a tiny bit of core strength to draw the belly back in towards center. So inhale, the breath fills up the chest, the ribs, the belly. And then feel the exhale start at the belly, drawing the belly in towards center. Maybe a slight pause at the bottom of the exhale before you breathe in, but breathe in slowly. So no gasping, no rushing the breath. Take your time. Taking in only what you need and then exhaling. And it's impossible to exhale fully, but exhale as much as you can. Feel the navel draw in. And then try to pause before you breathe in again. And just take about one more full round of breath here. And then go ahead, bend your knees, place your feet on the ground. Press into your feet, lift your hips a tiny bit. Move the bolster, the pillow off to the side, and slowly lower all the way down. Reach one arm behind you, roll onto the side of your body, and use your hands to slowly prop yourself up. And we've got one more pose, so grab that bolster, that pillow, and place it in front of you this long vertical way. And then sit back on your heels with your big toes touching and separate your knees hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. You'll slide that pillow in between your thighs and then come to a supported child's pose, resting your arms in whatever way feels best for you and resting one cheek on the mat, or you could even rest your forehead down, maybe on hands. And if your hips are quite far away from your heels, feel free to take another pillow and place it in between your hips and your heels if that feels best. And then as much as you can, just relax the belly. If you're used to tightening the body and gripping up, let the belly, the ribs expand. As much as you can, release the pelvic floor. And then bring your attention back to the feeling of the breath. So not even thinking about the breath, not even counting the breath, but just following that natural rise and fall of the breath. And you might feel that sense of opening with every inhalation, feeling the low back widen, the belly, the ribs, the chest expand. And then feel that sense of grounding, of release with every exhalation. Taking in just what you need as you breathe in. And focusing on the release of letting go as you breathe out. So if you're in a good spot, feel free to stay as long as you need. Maybe 5 more breaths, maybe 5 more minutes. And when you're ready to come out, you'll slowly press into your hands, roll yourself up so you're sitting back on your heels. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And a very slow, gentle exhale out of the mouth. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.